is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
One of Tassie's most dramatic coastlines is now a prime adventure tourism destination. The official launch of Tasmanian eBike adventures took place today, the Premier taking the opportunity to spruik his government's efforts in bringing more visitors to the state.
Over the last 3 years, tourists visiting the state domestically has risen by 17%, injecting $2 billion into the local economy last year alone, a boost the government is taking credit for. Others say the natural assets were a treasure waiting to be discovered.
Well, we certainly have the landscape, don't we, with national parks and World Heritage wilderness areas, and what we need to do is provide access. So these types of experiences provide an opportunity that you wouldn't get otherwise.
The new business owner says his adventure biking company caters to high-end tourists. A trip isn't cheap, costing $600 for a day, but Ben is confident it's worth it.
It's the elements of the history of the place, it's the electric bikes, it's the food and Tasmanian produce, particularly because we have got support of Aboriginal community members.
Worth every cent, you reckon?
I reckon.
He says the market is in prime position to open the company, something the government's proud of. It wants the state to be the world's best environmental tourism destination.
Tasmania is now very much a must-see destination.
But the proposed forestry legislation that's passed the lower house brings with it the possibility of logging in tourist hotspots, so the Greens aren't so sure.
You want to have a state that's genuinely known for its ecotourism. You need to protect your wilderness areas, and the Liberals have no intention of doing that.
Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
Tazz Water Chairman Miles Hampton says the economic regulator's State of the Industry report shows there's no crisis in Tasmania's water and sewage system. It found that 99.2% of customers are supplied drinking water, up from 98.6% last year, and that drinking water compliance, as well as environmental performance, is up. But Treasurer Peter Gutwin says the report justifies the government's planned takeover of Tazz Water.
The infrastructure is crumbling faster than what Tazz Water can fix it. We're not seeing the progress that we need.
Sewage remains a concern, with the report showing only one of 79 treatment plants achieved full compliance with discharge limits. Unanswered questions over a deleted Facebook post and Tamar Valley Power Station documents are keeping two state ministers firmly in the spotlight. Matthew Groom and Peter Gutwin facing criticism from opposition parties over perceptions they're hiding details from the public.
It's another day of who, what and why. The saga of who deleted the photo of Matthew Groom and the CEO of the Mount Wellington Cable Car Company continues after it was reposted last night.
Tasmanians don't care about my Facebook page. What they care about is whether or not we see investment and jobs in Tasmania.
Whilst the Treasurer still won't say whether he will provide the unredacted document about the Tamar Valley Power Station.
We won't be releasing cabinet information, and we take governing very seriously.
Mr Gutwin is expected to front the Public Accounts Committee tomorrow morning, seemingly unrattled by the process.
And I'm not going to provide a running commentary on this.
Labor offering advice to the government in the form they may not want to hear, calling on the Treasurer to have the document tabled in Parliament.
But I think he's probably had a few restless nights, and if I was him, I'd be thinking long and hard and clearly about the message it sends, that he's tried to hide this document, that he's been tricky about releasing information.
Meanwhile, all eyes were on Matthew Groom this morning as he launched Haywood Steel. But that wasn't the topic of the day. Still, he was unable to answer questions about why the original Facebook post was deleted, deepening concerns there may be something to hide.
And seriously, I mean, Tasmanians expect more from their members of Parliament than this stuff. We're talking about a $50 million project.
This is part of a much bigger agenda of secrecy in relation to public assets, misleading Tasmanians over what the intent is, and it all comes home to Minister Groom.
As to who reposted the said photograph?
Look, I did. I'm proud I'm proud of my support for this.
But as to who deleted it in the first place and why remains a mystery. Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
100 years on, the heroic efforts of Harry Murray are being remembered. The Tasmanian-born war hero was awarded the highest military honour in 1917. Today, a special service was held in commemoration.
Gone but not forgotten. 100 years on since Tasmania-born Lieutenant Colonel Harry Murray received a Victoria Cross, his legacy is being passed on to the next generation.
He really is an icon. He represents all servicemen and women both in the past and today.
Murray grew up on a farm in Evandale and then served in World War I. He landed in Gallipoli on April 25, 1915 as a member of the 16th Battalion. Today, those at Murray's commemoration heard even when doctors told him to go home, he didn't, as he wanted to fight with his mates.
In the face of the enemy, he stood firm, he helped save his mates and fought for freedom and for our country.
He put his success down to discipline. So we all need an element of discipline in our lives, and I think that's missing sometimes in today's society.
In a fitting tribute, the late Corporal Cameron Baird's father, Doug, was today's guest speaker. Corporal Baird was killed serving in Afghanistan in 2013 and is Australia's most recent Victoria Cross recipient.
If we ever needed a role model, we need to look no further than Harry Murray.
My son Cameron had a little black book, and in that black book, believe it or not, there was a page devoted to Harry. So Cameron was very much aware of what Harry stood for, and I guess myself, I'm representing Cameron here today.
Harry Murray is Australia's most decorated soldier, but while his efforts are now written in history, for another Tasmanian war hero, the fight to get him the recognition he deserves continues. A letter has been sent to the British Admiralty requesting sailor Teddy Sheehan receive a Victoria Cross.
We remain hopeful and we will not stop fighting for appropriate recognition for Teddy Sheehan, who went down with his ship in the 1st of December 1942.
At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
Monika Dadson at Southern Cross News.
The police union says anarchy is prevailing on our roads following another dangerous driving incident last night. It's alleged a motorist deliberately rammed the rear of another vehicle, sending it crashing into a power pole in Glenorchy. The union says weak evasion laws meant Tasmania Police could not stop the driver earlier.
They're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't. And there needs to be a look at the whole issue of evading police. I know that the government are coming out with penalties, changing some laws, but you know this whole process has got to be stepped up.
An elderly female was injured as a result of the collision. Mr Allen says there were recently 18 cases of police evasion in a single weekend. As the Tour de Cure touches down in Tasmania, local cyclists are opening up about their personal battles with cancer. They're part of a 100-strong peloton delivering money and messages to towns across the state.
Winding through our beautiful back roads, a body of blue and pink lycra and a dream of curing cancer. For the first time since 2014, the Tour de Cure is covering Tasmanian terrain. Across 500 kilometres, the teams are stopping at schools to talk about cancer and raising $2 million for research.
A lot of people haven't met each other before. They're immediately united with a common theme and a common passion and a common desire to help.
Ulverston-born Darren Armstrong has 2 forms of the disease. Another tumour was surgically removed only a few weeks before this ride.
The chapters haven't been closed and a new one's been, I guess, opened as far as what next.
In Tour de Cure, locals mix with the world famous, like Jens Vogt. The 17-time Tour de France rider has lost close friends to cancer. Now he wants to help others.
You do experience a lot of heartwarming stories, but also heartbreaking stories, you know.
Stopping in Beaconsfield today, the tour will go through Launceston, Scottsdale, the East Coast and Hobart.
We've got a few survivors, we've got people who have just lost someone, so for all of us it's quite different, but behind it we all want to raise a lot of money, we're all trying to raise the awareness.
Tom Johnson, Southern Cross News.
Some of Tasmania's most talented students have battled it out during day one of the annual Science and Engineering Challenge. Competition was bigger than ever this year, with more than 50 entries across the state, aiming to encourage future study in the field.
Catapults, buggies and bridges are not your typical science activity, but these students are up for the challenge. 9 schools competed in the first heat today, with 20 set to take part over the coming days.
This will provide the encouragement for them to go on to sciences and maths in year 11 and 12 and then on to university.
I think it's really important for girls to get involved in science and engineering, to encourage that. But also, our school, we just love science, and me personally, I'm all science the way, so that was a good starter, yeah.
The final round involved building a small bridge from tape and paddle pop sticks to be tested for strength. It proved to be a game changer, impacting the overall scores.
I was a bit nervous. I wasn't sure if we did better than last year's team. Their bridge broke instantly on the first go, so that's a plus.
Sacred Heart College took out the top title and St Mary's College came in second. The top 8 teams from each heat across Tasmania will compete in the state final in April. Talia Higgins, Southern Cross News.
Now let's take a look at business and finance with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The share market's strong run has continued for a second straight day to take it to a near 2-year high, thanks to strong demand for banking, energy and resource stocks. The ASX 200 index has risen by 52.3 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 76.38 US cents and 70.66 euro cents.
The Launceston Tornadoes are close to signing a replacement for departed gun import Michaela Roof. Whether the Chargers also replace their import remains to be seen, with Cassie Cook ruled out indefinitely.
Kathleen Shear was named Siebel Player of the Round for her performance in the Chargers' win over Launceston. She'll need to keep producing. Fellow import Cassie Cook ruled out indefinitely with an ankle injury before even landing in Australia. No such trouble for the men's side. Their new recruits all fired in a 57-point demolition job of the Northwest Thunder.
The first play of the game, I was kind of woke me up, it was the backdoor lob play. I said, okay, this is going to be a competitive game. And throughout the game, we just seemed to click a lot better, and for some reason they weren't.
Matang Muo led the way with 28 points and 10 rebounds. Rob Heyer says it was hard for coach Anthony Stewart to take much out of such a dominant performance.
He came in at halftime and said, well, guys, I don't know what really to tell you. We're doing a lot of things right.
Slow ticketing and a lack of catering caused ire among fans as basketball returned to the deck, but the club says they've implemented a new online system that will ease the process from this week. At Launceston, the hunt for a replacement for Michaela Roof continues, and Ben Rush says the club is close to making a signing.
There's a few options we're looking at, and we'll let a little bit more out of the bag next week, but we're definitely looking at someone from outside Australia at the moment, yes.
The Tawns went down to Hobart by 16 on Saturday night and meet Frankston at Elphin this weekend. The Northwest Thunder will take on Frankston's men's side in Ulverston on Friday night. They're hunting for a win following a 0-2 start to the season.
Good evening. Hobart 26 today, Launceston 21, Burnie and Devonport recorded highs of 20, 28 at Denali, the high around the state. Strawn, the top rainfall to 3 o'clock with 7 mils, most of the precipitation over the west Bass Strait and later over the north. Bushy Park and Friendly Beaches 25 today, Grove 24, St Helens and Flinders Island 23, King Island 21, Low Head and Wynyard 20, Strawn 19, Lyawini a coolish 13 degrees. The frontal cloud moved across the bight, linking Western Australia to our southwest. There's a very cold pool of air and a southerly airstream behind that system. Now over the Queensland Central Highlands and Coalfields area lies the remnants of ex-tropical cyclone Debbie. That's slowly tracking to the south, still producing rain and isolated thunderstorms. Close up, there's the cloud mainly over the north and west today, with the front crossing the west coast this afternoon. Tomorrow, a cold front extends from the New South Wales coast over the Tasman Sea with a trough to our south. A high has developed over the head of the bight, the low over Queensland moving slowly but filling. Westerly winds at 15 to 25 knots, reaching 30 knots over the south. Tending south-southwesterly during the morning at 15 to 25 knots. They'll turn southwesterly over the lakes as well, with a 90% chance of showers over the southwest lakes. Strong wind warning for southern waters between Tasman Island and Low Rocky Point. Thursday in Hobart, a possible shower and 17. 16 for Cygnet. Near Norfolk, a shower or two clearing later, 17 the top. Launceston, partly cloudy, 19 the high, 18 for Devonport. Maybe a shower for Campbelltown, 6 overnight, 18 tomorrow. Burnie, partly cloudy and 18, just 16 for Strawn with a few showers, 17 for Smithton. While for St Helens tomorrow, a possible shower, 19, 18 for Swansea. Fingal the same, 18 degrees. UV down to a moderate 5. On Friday, fine apart from showers in the west, far south and Bass Strait. Showers extending from the west on Saturday morning but contracting to the west and far south early afternoon. And mostly fine on Sunday, a possible shower over the west. Sunny in Perth, a shower or two for Adelaide and Melbourne. Rain with heavy falls for Sydney and Brisbane. Sunny in Alice Springs but stormy for Darwin. A few showers falling over Hobart. We're half the state's top today of just 13 now. 18 in Launceston and cloudy, and 16 right now in Devonport and showery. All getting a bit gloomy, Joe, darker and cloudier. Not looking forward to much apart from seeing you tomorrow night.
Yes, dripping with sarcasm. Thank you very much, Murph. Can't wait to see you either. That's all from the news team for now. Thanks so much for your company. Have a great evening. We'll see you at around 7:30 with updates. Bye-bye.